Right, hello people, back in the man shed again this morning. After my video getting some very nice remarks, thank you very much. Robert of Robert's Train Sets was saying, oh, he uses a computer, Hornby's computer control to control his engines, and he says he can't do double heading, and because he hasn't got the Gauge Master, and the way the Gauge Master, it does make it easy. But I think I haven't been adventurous. Whenever I do a consist, and that's what they call a double-headed, and they say makes a consist, I use two identical locomotives. So I've got for a demonstration of how to make a consist with using the Gauge Master, and then Robert, I will talk to you about your Rail Master. I think it's called Rail Master that you use. But with the Gauge Master, to construct a consist, I've got two Class 37s here. Now these are factory Bachmann 37s, yeah, so they've got the same chip in there, the sound chip in both of them, because they come as sound fitted. So they are identical locomotives. And then the way with the Gauge Master to make the consist, and they're facing, by the way, they're also facing in reverse. Yeah, that wants to go that way. That should in theory go that way. So I've coupled them in the middle. But the consist, when you do it with a Gauge Master, it doesn't matter, because the consist, when you make it, you tell it which way you want to go. So to do a consist, you say double heading, and you say okay, so you set in it, so you go enter, and I'm giving it a number 10, nice and easy. So that now becomes a locomotive in the controller's mind, where it will be, yeah, and so these two locos will be locomotive 10. Right, so it's saying, okay, add the locomotive. So the first one I want it to be, because it's going in that direction, the number is called 3725. So I'm adding 3725, and I'm going, and you notice there, before I add, I can set what direction I want it to be in. Well, its default direction is to go forward, so I'm quite happy with all that as it is. So you go enter. It's now sending a signal. So second loco. So second one is 3784. But this one, I don't want it to be in forward direction, because she's actually running in reverse. So you change the direction. Yeah, so now the arrow's saying reversed. Go enter. And that's it. And enter again to clear the screen. That's the number for that loco, which won't operate now. It won't make that move, because I now have to call up a loco. So loco 10. Enter, and that's it. Speed step whatever it is, sport 14, I put it on 28. Enter. It's in reverse at the moment. Change the direction, because now you see this will change the direction of the train, and now if I move it, she's going that way, yeah, and that was the lead loco, so she's going in the right direction. So the forward arrow is saying forward. So great, Gauge Masters. So can't put any lights on. Alright, because it doesn't allow you to do that. I can press lights on, doesn't do a thing. You've got to call up the individual locos, put the lights on, and I will have light on now. If I want to put the sound on, I could have the sound going, but I won't. Recall the next loco, put its lights on. So they've both got lights on. So the beauty of the Gauge Master system is that you don't have to have lights on all the locos, but I'll leave it as that. Go back to call up loco 10. I don't know if you can see the light there. The light is saying it's going forward, but now if I change the direction, she's going in the direction, and that's both locos are showing white lights. Change the direction, and red. And that's how easy it is, that's how great it is with the Gauge Master to control. So obviously the lights would work, the sound, the sounds, no, the sound doesn't. The sound would be running, but I would have to call up the locomotive to press the horn, yeah? Do you understand? Because under its consist number, to press the horn doesn't do anything. So it's, that's what you've got to remember. That although you've got your pair of locos moving, and you've got your lights moving, and they change direction, and you will have your sound running as well, individual instructions won't work. You've got to call up that locomotive still, yeah? So that's it. And that's how you do the consist in using the Gauge Master. And the other little tip, I've got these two engines back to back and they're coupled using the NEM coupler. So even though they are the same engine, there's a little bit of variation between movement with the, there's that little bit, allows a little bit of rocking between the two locos. If one wants to start off slightly quicker than that one, until the coupling takes up, you'll get that little bit of movement. Well, lovely way around that. Treat yourself to the Bachmann coach coupling. Yeah, can you see that there? Hope you can. That's the little rigid bit of plastic that you can get for Bachmann's coaches to try to, form a rake of coaches with Bachmann. So it's a NEM, it uses the NEM pocket, still the same coupling. The distance between there and there is the same distance as you would get with the little couplers that you get as default. But because this is quite a rigid bit of plastic, you won't get that little bit of movement between the locomotives. Right, so I know this may be all no good to you, Robert, because this is the Gauge Master, but anybody else wanting to know how to do the Gauge Master, and that's it. So the Loco 10 is the consist number for these two. To get rid of it, you go, first of all, you clear the locomotive, so it's gone. So locomotive 10 is gone. Now to clear the double heading, go back into double heading and you say clear the consist, and it's saying, well, what consist? And I'll set it as 10. You've got to remember what the number was. So 10 is gone, and that's it. So 3, 2, 5, and they're all individual now. If I turn that one on now, that one's pulling that one. Yeah, so it's not moving, the wheels are moving because she's back in my control. There you go. And if I do that one, she wants to pull that way. You see? So that's it. So I've got full control over the two locos, but at the moment they're joined together. So there we are. So that's it done. And I can turn the lights off. And I'll turn the lights off. Right, now that's that. Okay, the Class 68s, again, not mixing and matching, they're both Dapol, they're both sound fitted locos, and in this case I have fitted between the couplers the Bachmann coupling, yeah, that little thing. So you can see there's a little tiny little bit of movement with the slack of the Dapol's system of, but when she's put in she's taut, so just a bit better than the normal NEM coupling. Now Robert, what you're saying now is you can't put two locos together because you can't change the direction of one loco. Well, you can, but it would mean going into your CV settings. Now, I don't know if everybody's aware of the CV. I just put that up there. And it's on your Hornby manual. All decoders have a default CV29, and I've got it here. And bit 1 of CV29 is the direction of travel. Now, if you got, now I've had a locomotive, a Hornby before now, that when I turned the power on, she had lights come on to the front where the driver was, and so, but when I gave it power on the controller, it went backwards. The lights would go from white to red and she'd run backwards, even though the controller is saying I'm going forward. So that annoys the hell out of me. But the way you change it is under CV29. Now just be careful because it does many functions. So the way that you do it, you put your locomotive on a programming track, read CV29, don't write to it, you have to read the default value of CV29 before you do anything else. So say it comes up with a value of 35, or that 35 consists of 4 instructions in there, but to change the direction on the CV29, all you have to do is add 1. So if it read 35, you write 36. You've just added that 1 bit of information, and that will change the direction of travel of your locomotive default. So that next time, when you power up, when you get power going for your track, you still might see the white light coming, or the red light coming up with the locomotive, but if you've got your, and in my case, the direction, the forward arrow, and it's showing red, as soon as you give it power, the red will go out and the white will come back on, and she will go in the direction that you've elected to do. And so that's how you can do it. So CV29, you just add the value of 1. You have to read first, find out what it is, and then you just put the 1. Don't do anything else, and then save that as that. If you do mess up, just write CV8 and reset the decoder back to what it was from the factory, and just put in your new address again. Okay, and that's how you can change the direction of your locomotives, Robert. So if you've got one that you're saying, oh, I can't do it, under my computer software, well, yeah, just write that value into the CV of that particular locomotive that you want to go in its reverse direction. It will run. And if you ever want it, to put it all the way back to the way it was, just reset it. Just write value 8 into 8, and then reprogram the address, the number for the loco, and that gets you out of that. The 68s, having talked about how easy it was to do a consist with the Gauge Master, the 68s, I had a slight hiccup with it. Yes, I could get them running by adding the 2 locomotives together. Yes, I could operate the lights and the sounds, but then it had an unusual feature that when you moved, the lights went out. And so therefore, every time you adjusted the speed, the lights would go out. I then had to call up the individual locos as it was going round and put the lights back on. And I thought to myself, oh, that's the same, a little glitch, So I thought, oh, well, that's how am I going to do my nuclear fast train? Well, I'll tell you what I did. Doing that trick with CV29, is it 29? Yeah, I said it. Yeah, with the CV29. This loco, no, hold on, which way round it is, because I've got a driver in one of these. Right, that's the lead loco. That's default with everything going right that way. This loco I called up, and on the CV I changed CV29 so that forward to it is actually going in that direction, even though it's reverse on the actual locomotive, because I both wanted them to go that way. The couplings, I haven't got couplings at both ends, so the couplings had to be in the middle there, using that Bachmann coupling, which meant this one loco has to run in reverse. This one runs normal, this one runs in reverse. CV29 running in reverse. I could have done that, and I did do it in the Gauge Master, but I had this unusual thing that when she was running, the lights would go out and I would have to call up as she's going round, and every time I adjusted the speed, the lights would go back out again. So I thought, well, I want to double head my nuclear flask. So this is what I did. So I changed the CV on that one so that the direction was there. That one is 6805. This one is 6834, but it's not. It's 6805 as well. So basically what I've done, guys, it's got the same address as this one. So when I call up 6805, both decoders are getting the signal to say that they're 6805, even though the number on this one is different, but that's only the body number. So the train does exactly what I want it to do. So 6805, forward direction, which is that way, and off we go. Because this one has had its CV changed to think that that way is forward. And I can obviously change direction, and all the lights change direction because it's treating the 2 locomotives as if it's just one locomotive. I think we've all done it in the past. As you know, when you get a new loco, the default address on the decoder is 3, and they say, oh, you can't have more than one locomotive called 3, otherwise they all move. Well, exactly, and that's what I wanted to do. But of course, as a default, they would move as they are now. If they weren't coupled, they would move in its opposite directions. But of course, change the CV, that's it. And everything is all works. But what's probably happening, and which is even better function, is that both locos are sounding the horn. If I have the engine running, both engines would be running when you accelerate. Now, I wouldn't do it with anything else other than exactly the same locomotives, because you know, difference in gearing, difference in the motors, things like that. Or if you've done anything personal to your CV settings and things like that, I don't know. The two locos that I've done in the consist here are exactly the same. The Bachmann 37s, they are identical locomotives. You know, works-wise, the engines and the decoder are the same. It's just the body shell is different. The same with the Class 68. They're both the same 68s. They're not different eras of manufacture or anything like that. So I haven't, you know, I wouldn't dare try, I wouldn't think it would work trying to put a 66 up with a 37 as a consist. I mean, they're different gearings, and I think that probably would be asking a little bit too much, and I'm sure it won't work. Similarly, I don't think it's successful between the Hornby and the Bachmann, because the TTS decoder and the ESU decoder in all my Bachmanns, I don't think would talk to each other. I've got 208s, and I can do the same with the 208s, but you know, I'm not elected to do a consist of that. But that's what I wanted to tell you, Robert. The fact that even if you don't want to do a double heading, if you want to just to try and individually call up your locomotives and then run them together, you can have them running back to back, because on one of them you just got to change CV29. So don't forget, you read the value first. So if it's 34, you just add 1, and that will make it change its direction, and it's set, you know, until you change it back again. And obviously to change it back again, you take the 1 away, so back to, you know, wherever it was. And if you can't remember it because you haven't written it down, just write CV8 just write 8 in CV8, and that resets many chips, I believe, and then you'll have to reprogram in your new address. So hopefully this has been a tutorial about how I do my double headings. But as I say, I can't. If you had two locos with the address of 3, they would be running around together. You go, oh crikey, I've got 2 locos moving, but they will move, wouldn't they? So I thought to myself, well, this way then, and you can see the lights change now. I'll turn them off, change the lights, there we are. And this time when I move forward, the lights don't go off, which was happening when I was trying to do it under the Gauge Master way. There you are. So there you are, guys. So hopefully might be a little tip. I suppose I should say a disclaimer, don't blame me if it goes wrong, you know, try it, but I can't see there being a problem. Because if you had locomotives on there, and it was, you know, and they hadn't been readdressed, they would all be moving under number 3, and you wouldn't be sort of like rushing to the emergency stop under the controller, because you think, oh my gosh, you know, as far as these locomotives are concerned, the controller is sending a signal to that particular number. You've still got your 15 volts or whatever it is coming through the track to both things, and they're just picking up the instruction to say, this one's saying, oh, I should move, and this one's saying, oh, I should move. No different from when you set up a consist. And the video I last made with the 68, so it, you know, took quite a while to do, and gave me no problems whatsoever. So don't forget, a little tip, get hold of these little, if you do it, rather than have the usual NEM couplings with all the movement that they give, this is a little bit more stable. It's what they used for the coaches, and it fits in the NEM coupler. Obviously, it's designed to fit in. You've got a NEM, you know, each end, and that's it. So a little bit of flexibility. There's a little bit of movement, as you saw. It does flex a little bit, but certainly it's a bit stiffer than having the 2 normal couplings, because you have got that play. You can see, yeah, there we are. And that one, I think on the 68, you actually see, you know, it's a bit reduced. Yeah, okay, so that's it. So it's another video, and I hopefully might give Robert his ideas, because he's saying with his computers it's not as versatile, it seems, as the Gauge Master. And I was even able to do the same sort of thing on the Elite, because the Elite you can do double heading and change direction of travels and things like that. But that's how you do it. Okay guys, so I hope it's been of use. Alright, catch you soon. Bye.